What's going on, everybody out there all across the land? Of course, you are back tuned into the number one station on the net, period. That's the Keith Harris Show right here on HotlineRadio.net. Now, of course, as I told you before, we have a very, very special guest on the show with us today. We're honored to have this young man on the phone. He's on an extraordinary journey. And without any further ado, I'd like to roll out the red carpet for extraordinary vocalist and American Idol contestant Savion Wright. What's going on with you, man?
I'm doing good. Thank you for the introduction.
Hey, no doubt, man. You deserve it. You deserve it. You are. Let me start out by asking you first, man. How you feeling these days? You know the intensity level has risen for you. I'm assuming. How you feeling about everything?
I mean, hey, it's been an awesome experience. You know, I'm excited to be here. Just not only because I'm finally here, but because of the fact that I was here last year, but I'm not. I made it further than I did last year, and so for me, it's really I'm standing on the shoulder of giants right now. So I feel like it's a huge compliment to be here,
right?
And where I've wanted to be for so many years. It's great. I'm loving.
I know that's right. Well, then, let me ask you a question, man. You know, because you were a vocalist and you were singing, before obviously going to American Idol. When did you realize, in your younger years, when did you realize, like, were you singing from a child, or when did you begin?
Yeah. I started singing around 6. My dad's a pastor, so I grew up in the church. I'm the youngest of 5, and every single one of my family members sang. So it was really brought up in my family, and I really didn't kind of grasp onto it until around the age of 14 or 15, where I really was like, I can sing. I can really sing. So that's really kind of how I got it. But really, I started off as singing solos and stuff in choir, in my dad's choir in church, but then started playing instruments around 12 years old, and then around 15 was when I really grasped the fact that I could actually sing.
Right.
I wanted to be a singer until I was around 17 or 18.
Well, what instruments could you play? Because I know I seen you out there with the guitar in your hand.
Yeah, that's the guitar was the first instrument that I learned. But I also I started playing the saxophone from band, and then started doing my own thing with that. And then I also played the piano. I also played the bass, guitar. Which I learned in church.
Hey.
But I play the bass, and then I also play the mandolin and ukulele, and also the harmonica, and also I'm actually learning right now to play the cello.
That's insane, brother. Like, where did you learn? Like, okay, so you learned did you learn a few instruments on your own? Maybe some in school? Like, that's a lot of instruments.
Most of the instruments I taught myself, really.
Wow.
I mean, I've gotten lessons for a couple, but mainly I took it on myself to learn them, because I felt like, learning instruments to me is like playing a new video game. That's really, I'm not really into video games that much, but I'll play a couple. But for me, that's what learning an instrument is like for me. It's like I touch this instrument, I'm like, oh my gosh, this feels good. It just feels right. So if it feels right for me, then I'll take it on myself to learn it, and that's what it's been like for learning the other instruments.
Right, and so for all the listeners out there, understand that Savion did not he did not just fall into this position. You already had it on your mind. So in a way, now. So was this something trying to take it to this level with the success that you've had thus far? Did you expect this? I mean, because listen, singing in the choir. Growing up in the church, it's the right thing to do. It's the smart thing to do. But had you had plans on taking your singing career to the next level of professionally one day?
It wasn't. It really wasn't until around 17 or 18 where I actually could see that. But I feel like I've basically prepared myself to be in this position in a way. I've always been a fan of the show.
Uh-huh.
And that's one thing that I always tell people is that I came on the show as a super fan. I mean, when I mean a super fan, I really was. I actually used to keep notebooks. My mom actually still has them.
Uh-huh.
Where when they got to the live shows of Idol since season 3, it was at least season 3. I actually still have the notebooks, and I would write down the top 12 artists that were on the show.
Uh-huh.
And then I would write what song, like what theme of the show was going to be that week. And I write who the judges were, what the judges' comments on each person's performance, and, you know, like their critiques or something. And then I would say, okay, well, I think this person is going to do the best of the week based off of their performances. Right. And, like, it's so crazy that I look back on them and I'm like, oh my gosh, that's me now.
I know, right? And look, it kind of makes me want to ask you, look, I know you're a lot more busy now because you're actually on the show, but you don't still do that, do you? Do you have time to do that now? Or?
Not really. No, we're always busy now, so. Yeah. But it's always cool to look back on, even on myself, you know, and critique yourself. That's one thing that I've always been doing as an artist is looking back on my past performances, recording them, like recording a show and looking back and saying, how can I improve on what I did this week? Or like, and so like this past week where we doing my performance, Hey Soul Sister.
Right.
Like I really think I did a great job when it came to, you know, pushing myself out as a performer and vocally, great performance. But there's always a good friend of mine who was on the show, who was in the top 48. He always said that there's always something you can improve on, and there's no such thing as a perfect performance.
Right.
And so I always do that. I always look back on my past performances and say, okay, hey, that's what I need to do better. This is what I can do better. And I think doing that, you know, these past couple of years, looking back on other people's performances on Idol, I can do that for myself now to improve my next performance, you know, the week after.
Right, and of course you're doing an extraordinary job, but it's also good that you keep that level head about things and understand and listen. You know, there's always room for growth, you know, in performances, because then that keeps you from getting too, you know, kind of like bubblegum headed, I guess I should say. And everybody.
Yes, exactly.
Right, and everybody needs to be grounded. You know, going up there and listen, putting on this. Well, first I'll ask you, do you have any formulas? How do you prepare yourself before you get ready to go on? You know, do you do breathing exercises? I mean, without giving away your strategy to you know.
Okay, no. I mean, one thing that I always do, no doubt, no matter what, before a performance, you know, you have to do, you know, some vocal exercise,
right,
breathing techniques. But one particular thing that I do is specifically, I always say a prayer before a performance.
Indeed.
And that's one thing that I've always done, and that's one thing that really keeps me grounded, you know, overall is my faith. Mm-hmm. And I really feel like, you know, I'll say, usually what I'll say is, you know what, this one's for you. This one's like, I'm not singing for, you know, for everyone, even though I am. But this particular song, no matter what the meaning of the song is, I'm giving it to you.
That's
how I put, you know, to keep me grounded and keep me in a level head where I can say, it can always be better, but for this moment right now, I'm doing it for you. And hopefully it touches people.
And in that formula, you know, you can't go wrong. Always you say your prayer and put God first, and you know, the rest is pretty much history after that. Now, what is it like being in front of, you know, being on American Idol is just big enough, just all in its own right. But what does it feel like when you're on the stage in front of those judges and you look at them and you know who they are? You know what I'm saying? Like, does that add, you know, any extra intensity to it for you, or is it just exciting for you, or how do you handle that?
It's definitely more exciting. It's more exciting, and it's a little intimidating because you're performing in front of people who do what you want to do.
Right.
You know, they're performers in their own right, and you know they know what they're talking about. I mean, you know, they don't have them on. You know, they have them on the show for a reason. And I feel like it's a little intimidating, but at the same time, you know, they're here to help. You have to always remember that they're here to help you. So if you put it in that, you know, in that perspective, you can always have a negative perspective about everything, but you can also have a positive perspective about everything as well. So I usually think of it as a positive aspect and say, you know what, they're here to help me. No matter what they say, I can always get improvement from what they say, whether it's good or bad.
Oh, of course. Now, you know, this is I know this is the fun part. You know, the family and the loved ones and everybody close to you. Just how they reacting or you know on this journey for you, except for ecstatic. I know they're going bananas and they're really like, you know, constantly jumping up and down. But like, what's that like for them? Because this is mega for the family members too. You know what I'm saying? Just the support system. How is that for them?
Oh, that's one thing that, you know, I never take for granted as family, and my family is very family oriented. So I'm always getting texts and calls, you know, and luckily having sisters and you know, like both of my sisters were in the gospel industry for a long time. So having them say, hey, you know what, this is what you can improve on, like, or you know, having them support me is just ridiculously amazing. And I love having my mom and dad, you know, call me and say, hey, you did it. Or, you know, having my grandma or just any person, any family member. Like, they just, like, for this, for me, and they know how hard I work. So, having them, you know, here or per se watching me, it's just, it makes me giddy inside. And I'm happy that, you know, I'm representing them in a great light. Because, you know, in the end, you know, it's what you do and what you say that people will remember.
Of course. And listen, there's no bigger feeling in the world when you hear moms and grandmoms and all of them going crazy and really proud of what you've done, right?
That's so true.
Absolutely. Now there's the other side. I know you got stuff to do, so I won't hold you too much longer. But I got to ask you the other side too, because it's reality now. Did you have any haters? Did you have any people out there that didn't think you could do it? You know, and then you proved them wrong. But or did you just kind of brush them off? You know, brush your shoulders off and didn't notice them too much?
I mean, you always, I mean, you know, there's always, you know, people who don't want to see you succeed. Right. And that's in life, period. You know, when someone sees you doing something, you know, in a good light, there's always going to be, you know, with every light there is dark. That's the perfect analogy for it. And yeah, I've had a lot of people look down on me or say something to me, but at the same time, it's their insecurity. You know, if you put it in that way, then you can see it in a different way. It's not your fault in any way. Right. So the one thing that my mom and dad always say is, you know, just pray for them. You know, no matter what. You hit it right on the nose. You hit it right on the nose, bro. Just say a prayer for them and keep doing what you're doing, because you're doing great. If you don't have haters, then you must not be doing something. If you do, you must be doing something right. That's what my grandma always said. If you have haters, you're doing the right thing. That's really real. Look, all right. So you know, you got the big Royal Rumble coming up again next week, or the next time. Are you ready for that? You're doing your vocal exercises and your push-ups and all that. Oh yeah. That's one thing. See, that's one thing that my dad prided on. My dad not only is a pastor, but he also is a track and basketball coach. So I've always had, you know, sports in my life, but I wasn't really the sports type of person. Right. But one thing that I always prided myself on, or always still do, is, you know, working out, because, you know, you gotta pull out those notes, you know, and you can only do that with good breath support. And so working out is one of the only, you know, ways to get good breath support. Right. And that I always, you know, I pride myself on is working out, and especially if you see me on the show last year and see me now, I'm
Hey.
So I kind of went on this, this journey working out, and it's helped me out.
Yeah, that's important. Healthy, intelligent, and knowing what you're doing. That look, it's so exciting. Like I said, I'm going to let you get out of here, but you're so exciting. I got to ask this question: the songs, okay? How do you maintain the songs? I mean, because I'm not sure if you guys, if you get to choose a song yourself or how that works. You don't have to tell that, but how do you know? Like, does it get any rougher depending on what kind of song you're singing? Just for the listeners out there.
Well, I feel like it's different. I guess that's a different story for each person that's in this competition.
Right.
For me specifically, I like to do songs. I love to do songs that you would see me perform live, that you would see me do at a show. Like if you're coming to a Savion Wright show, if you're coming to one of my shows, then like you're gonna see me perform this song or a song like this. Like me doing "Hey Soul Sister," that's one of my favorite songs to perform live because.
And it's no easy song either.
Yeah, it's vocally that it's not one of the easiest songs to sing.
Right.
But I love to do songs like a set list, and that's kind of how I approach the show this season. Is I want to approach it as a set list of songs that you will see me perform live. But for some other people, they may let their emotion go for them, or like specifically for me this next week, I'm doing a particular song that I connect to because I lost my brother last year.
Okay.
And this song really connects to me because it goes with what's going on in the world and the type of things that we're dealing with today. Still, even though it's an older song, it still has. It's a very prolific song, and I connected to it because of me losing my brother. So I really hope people will enjoy that and will see the passion and the angst in the song that I want to, the way I want to approach it.
Hey, look, I'm sure they will, man. Listen, again, we want to congratulate you. You've been doing an extra extraordinary job, and I intend to see you. I intend and expect to see you ride this one on out. I see you going really, really far in this situation, and I want you to keep up the good work, my man. You got a wonderful head on your shoulders. If you don't mind me asking, how old are you?
I'm 22.
All right, yeah, you got a good head on your shoulders. Still young, got a lot of life ahead of you, man. And look, we really congratulate you and we stand behind you. And if at all possible, because I know you're busy, but if at all possible, it'd be great to get you back on the show a little later on in your journey, man. Come on back here, consider the show home, and come on back and talk to us again.
Gladly, I would gladly do it. Yeah, and like you said, exactly what you said. Hey, for me to have this level head, thank my parents, because if it weren't for them, if it weren't for them, I wouldn't be where I am today. So. I really thank God for my parents. They're the ones that, they raised us to be good, kind, caring people.
As a matter of fact, man, shout outs. Got any shout outs, Savion?
Shout out to my family, my parents, mom and dad. I love y'all so much. Thank you for, instilling in me, let's put it this way. If not sparing the rod and spoiling the child.
I know that's right. And also, big shout outs, for just everybody supporting Savion Wright and standing behind him, as well. Make sure you keep the votes coming in for this young gentleman. He's doing his thing, and we want to keep him around for an extremely long time. Savion Wright, you the man. Keep doing your thing. I'm gonna be tuned in. I'm gonna be watching you. I'm a fan, so you know what I'm saying. So I'm behind you, and I'll be noticing too. Want to say a big shout outs to Molly O'Gara as well. Big shout outs to your whole team, Savion, your family, your friends, and everybody out there. It's been a blast talking to you. Listen, all the listeners out there, make sure you keep up with the show. The next time Savion's on the show, make sure you catch the number to vote. You go check them out. I believe votings might be closed for now, but the next time you're able to vote, make sure you go get this man your vote. Support him. Stand behind him. He's a wonderful guy doing his thing. And hey, we support you, Savion. Listen, also you're welcome. Also, I want to remind anybody out there, if you tuned in late, you may have missed a little bit of the interview, or you want to catch up, it will be posted up on the social networks as well later on. So, Savion, make sure your peoples know that as well.
Great. Yeah, and if y'all want to follow me, I'm always on social media. I love to, to stay in contact with my fans and family. If y'all want to contact me, you can follow my journey, on Twitter. It's at Savion J Wright, and that's SAVIONJWRIGHT. And if you want to follow me on Facebook, if that's your favorite social media site, it's Facebook.com/Savion J Wright, or on Instagram, Savion J Wright as well. So just if you want to use all of those, I'm always on the stay in contact with me.
That's right. Hit them up. Hey, listen, too, one more thing before we get out of here, too, champ. Listen, throughout your journey of making music, man, when you release some singles or whatever you do like that, man, feel free to hit me up so I can get them on rotation and have them planned for you on the show, too, bro.
Thank you.
No doubt. All right, everybody, you listen to the Keith Harris Show on Hotline Radio. We've been talking to my main man, Savion Wright, the extraordinary vocalist and American Idol contestant. Make sure you keep it locked, stay tuned in, don't miss an episode of the show. We'll be talking to you soon. Savion, big shouts out to you, man. We'll see you on the next round, brother.
All right, thank you.
All right, bye-bye. That was Savion Wright, vocalist and American Idol contestant. Cool dude, wonderful attitude, down to earth. You know what I'm saying? And one thing I like about what he said is that there's always something that he can learn. It's important to go out there and realize that there are other contestants, and everybody's hungry. Everybody's trying to eat and doing their thing. So it's extremely important that you keep a level head about what you're doing. But I tell you what, Savion's doing his thing, and he's doing it real heavy. Bright kid, and we wish him the best. And, we wish him continued success in the future. All right. So once again, everybody, that was Savion Wright. I also want to remind you, check him out on the social media sites as well. Also, you'll be able to follow his moves on my social media sites also. And, that's what's up. We're honored to have him on the show today. Of course, you're listening to the Keith Harris Show. I'm your host, Keith Harris, right here on Hotline Radio. Don't you touch that Don't you touch that dial. And don't touch that dial after I go off either, because my main man, Mike Styles, will be coming up next right after me. All right. Also, don't forget, I hope you was listening before then, too, for 23rd Radio. There's something to listen to 24 hours, 7 days a week on Hotline Radio, the #1 station on the net. Don't you forget it. Don't touch that dial. I'm Keith Harris. I'll be right back. Let's get into some more music.